Greetings and hello, I am Norris, also known as Cormaker TV. I joined Labs Games quite late in their production of Valorborn. I'm impressed what Honor, as the solo dev of the team, has accomplished so far, and I'm at my bestest to support him in terms of community building, lore building, marketing, and maybe even quest writing and voice acting. Valorborn is a sandbox RPG set in a living medieval fantasy world where factions, politics, and conflicts keep moving forward with or without you. You are not the chosen one who fixes everything, and you're one person in a world that can grow, collapse, change depending on what you do, and also what the world does on its own. The goal is freedom, consequences, and replayability. We want different starts, we want different alliances, different outcomes, and a world that feels like it has its own agenda. A lot of people ask, what's the story? Because it's a sandbox, right? So the way we approach it is like that. There is this big world that has a strong lore as a foundation, but the player story itself is not a straight line. The main story, if you want to call it like that, is the world itself. Kingdoms will rise, cultures will clash, religion will push their influence, faction will make moves, and you as a player can either ride the wave, exploit it, or just burn it all down. The story so far, and not to spoiler too much for you and for you to figure out and find out, is there was the big empire of Alarion. They used magic to create their own utopia. So from little chores up to work tasks, everything has been done through magic. Every little task was handled like that, and accumulating all this power and magical usage turned into a nasty cataclysmic event. This fractured the empire into different factions, and from there rose different kingdoms, and the civil war began. And one of those kingdoms is where our journey begins in early access, in the kingdom of Tharion. People who swore to never let magic corrupt their lives again, and ban magic use completely from their lands. And for those who still want to use magic in those predicaments or in those areas, death would be the punishment. The rest we want the players to find out. We will reveal more and more story bits as we move forward with updates and progression. Okay, limb loss. I know this question comes up a lot. Right now, we're exploring how far we want to go with injury, damage systems. The honest answer is limb damage and serious injuries are something we like conceptually, but we will only do it if it fits the gameplay and doesn't turn into pure frustration. So the direction is, we want meaningful combat with consequences, but still fun to play. If we do limb loss, we don't want it to be random cheap shots that ruin your run. We'd rather have clear rules, counterplay, and systems to manage it if it happens. So not confirmed as a guaranteed feature yet, but it's on the table and being tested and designed. Yeah, I mean, it's a medieval fantasy world. Of course we want to have our classic players like orcs, elves, and my personal favorites in terms of fantasy are dwarfs. So we want these kind of races and pods that are being part of our fantasy world since so many years to be, of course, part of Valorborn as well, but with this twist to them. So different agendas, different backgrounds, different ways of living that, gives a fresh wind into the whole thing. And of course, we're also working on original ideas that could fit the world and we can place into this world that we're building. That means maybe some creatures that you maybe have never seen before that we've created and come up with. But that is to be seen. That depends, of course, how the story will be spawned further and what kind of ideas and directions we want to go with the story of Valorborn. 100%. We want players like back in the days where you bought your PC magazines and had a bunch of demos on a CD so you can try out games before buying them. Wow, I feel a little bit old thinking back now on PC game demos on magazines. Short answer, yes. Long answer, we want the demo build to be one on the same quality as the game itself, to be a nice vertical slice of our final build of early access, then also the 1.0 version. As to if they go live at the same time with EA and the 1.0 update, we can't decide yet. Depends, of course, on the workload. We're just 2 people now. Mod support is a big one. To answer this briefly, we want it. The realistic answer is the mod support depends on what tools we can ship and how clean we can make this pipeline towards you. But from a design philosophy perspective, we love mods, because mods keep sandbox games alive for years after. So adding more supports to Unreal Engine 5 games is a little bit difficult. In our first game, Land of Vikings, we installed our in-game editor and activated the Steam Workshop. So we can take a similar approach in this game as well, where you can maybe create your own assets to simply put them in or change outfits or something like that. Initially, we wanted to launch end of January, but we want to have more time to get even more polishing done before launching into early access. Keep that in mind, early access means the game is still in development and it's not a final product or version of how we envision Valorborn. Labs Game wants to take the scary approach of being self-published and do everything on their own, meaning we will be in charge of what and how we do things. We'll be able to decide when and how we push updates, but also that means we depend on the support of the community and people buying the early access in order to have the financial pipeline to keep on producing. Therefore, we hope that you have a great time with our early access builds, jump into our Discord, help us shape it together to an outstanding medieval fantasy game. We have crazy ideas for Valorborn and we want to develop these ideas with you. And with that, we come to a closure for our first Q&A round. Wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and please do wishlist the game, jump in our Discord, and become part of our journey. Help us make Valorborn a great game. Next Q&A session soon.